Namaskar. A warm welcome to World News and Indian Perspective on All India Radio. This is Prashant Kumar Sinha bringing glimpses of major developments of the day from across the globe. The headlines: India's External Affairs Minister cautions against the risk posed by illegal migration. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says post-COVID-19 world order will be about relearning, rethinking, re-innovating and reinventing. Joe Biden urges U.S. Congress to urgently pass the relief bill to deal with the worsening coronavirus situation in the country. WHO chief scientist expresses hope to have 500 million doses of COVID-19 vaccines in the first quarter of 2021. And in cricket, India take on Australia in the second T20 match in Sydney on Sunday. External Affairs Minister of India, Dr. S. Jaishankar, has said that the COVID pandemic has awakened the world to the phenomenon of migration and the responsibilities it brings along. He was addressing the 6th edition of the Mediterranean Dialogue. Dr. Jaishankar said that migration is something which is essential to globalization and the world needs to rethink how it approaches migration. He cautioned against the risk posed by illegal migration. The minister stated that it is in the interest of countries to promote legal and safe migration. This can be achieved through migration and mobility agreements such as the ones India has with France and is in the process of finalizing with other EU nations.
We need to look at migration as something essential to globalization. It's going to happen. It's in our interest to make it happen safely, legally, because migration and mobility is a fact of life. I think it's important to ensure that it is legal and it is safe, that when it comes to mobility, that we encourage market-driven mobility, because that is essential finally for a globalized economy. And what we should guard against is illegal migration, because illegal migration is actually the feedstock of organized crime groups.
Prime Minister of India, Mr. Narendra Modi, has said that the government is fully committed to the principle of reform, perform and transform. Delivering his keynote address at IIT 2020 Global Summit organized by Pan IIT USA, Mr. Modi said there is no sector left out from the ambit of reforms.
Ours is a government fully committed to the principle of reform, perform, transform. There is no sector left out from our reforms. Agriculture, atomic energy, defense, education, healthcare, infrastructure, finance, banking, taxation, the list goes on.
The Prime Minister listed many path-breaking reforms brought in by the government in various sectors, such as assimilating 44 union labour laws into just 4 codes and having one of the lowest corporate tax rates in the world, production-linked incentive scheme in 10 key sectors to enhance exports, as well as manufacturing are other examples. Mr. Modi said that even in these testing times of COVID-19, India has got record investment and much of this investment has come in the tech sector. The Prime Minister said our actions today will shape our planet's tomorrow. He said the post-COVID-19 order will be about relearning, rethinking, re-innovating and reinventing. President-elect of the United States of America, Joe Biden, appealed to the U.S. Congress on Friday to urgently pass a relief bill to deal with the increasingly worsening coronavirus situation in the country. Warning the country of a bleak future if not acted upon immediately, Mr. Biden said that Americans require hundreds of billions of dollars to cope with the pandemic.
I'm not alone in saying this situation is urgent. If we don't act now, the future will be very bleak. Americans need help, and they need it now. And they need more to come early next year. Congress and President Trump have to get this deal done for the American people.
Wall Street's main indices rose to all-time highs on Friday as data showing the slowest U.S. jobs growth in 6 months raised investors' expectations for a new fiscal relief bill to help revive the coronavirus-hit economy. The S&P 500 surged 0.9%, the Dow Jones Industrial Average climbed 0.8%, and the Nasdaq Composite Index gained 0.7%. Bahrain has stated that it will not allow the import of Israeli goods produced in settlements in occupied Palestinian territory. Earlier, Bahrain's Industry, Commerce and Tourism Minister Zayed bin Rashid Al Zayani had stated that they would make no distinction between products produced in Israel or in the occupied West Bank and Golan Heights. However, in a statement to the state news agency late on Friday, Bahrain's Minister of Industry, Commerce and Tourism said that the ministry is committed to the Bahraini government's unwavering stance regarding adherence to the resolutions of the United Nations. Bahrain and the United Arab Emirates had earlier formalized ties with Israel in a US-sponsored deal. A rules-based Indo-Pacific region with an emphasis on ASEAN centrality is key to India's vision of security and growth for all in the region, says India's External Affairs Minister, Dr. S. Jaishankar. He was speaking at the 6th India, Cambodia, Laos, PDR, Myanmar and Vietnam CLMV Business Conclave. The minister added that the development of infrastructure and connectivity is a vital area of cooperation between India and Mekong countries. He invited Cambodia, Laos, PDR, Myanmar and Vietnam to join the International Solar Alliance Coalition for Disaster Resilience Infrastructure CDRI. He also urged them to participate in the Indo-Pacific Oceans Initiative, which has synergies with ASEAN Outlook on Indo-Pacific. This is All India Radio giving you the world news. India's envoy to the United Nations, Ambassador T.S. Tirumurthy, has reaffirmed India's continued support and partnership to the Alliance of Small Island States, AOSIS. Speaking in the occasion of the 30th anniversary of the alliance, he congratulated all small island states.
In its 3 decades of existence, the Alliance has played a remarkable catalyzing role in consolidating and amplifying the voices of small island states, particularly through its advocacy in the key focus areas of climate change, sustainable development, and ocean conservation. As together we face the COVID-19 pandemic, you will find in India a steadfast and reliable partner for development based on your priorities and aspirations.
The Bangladesh government is going ahead with its plan to partially relocate Rohingyas from the refugee camps of Cox's Bazar. On Friday, a batch of 1,642 Rohingyas were sent to the newly developed facility at Bhashan Char. According to the official news agency BSS, another 3,500 Rohingyas will be sent to the Bhashan Char this week to complete the relocation. India and Thailand have discussed a wide range of bilateral issues and cooperation in various sectors such as food processing, pharmaceuticals, textiles and services. The meeting was co-chaired by the Commerce Ministry of India and its counterpart from Thailand. In another development, India's Ministry of Commerce and Industry signed an MOU within the United States Patent and Trademark Office in the field of intellectual property cooperation. It is aimed at increasing IP cooperation between the two countries. China on Thursday said that the new audit law passed by the U.S. House of Representatives that could target Chinese companies listed in the U.S. is tantamount to political oppression. The House on Wednesday unanimously passed a law to bar foreign listings from U.S. stock exchanges if they do not fully comply with the country's audit rules. The act would also require public companies to disclose whether they are owned or controlled by a foreign government. Now, coronavirus updates from around the world. The WHO has confirmed that the total number of COVID-19 infections has crossed the 65 million mark worldwide. Turkey has entered its first full weekend lockdown since May after coronavirus infections and deaths spike. Chief Scientist of the World Health Organization, Soumya Swaminathan, expressed hope to have 500 million doses of COVID-19 vaccines available for distribution by the Global COVAX initiative in the first quarter of 2021. In cricket, India will take on hosts Australia in the second encounter of the 3-match T20 series in Sydney on Sunday. India is celebrating the 151st birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi. Before we end, let's listen to his favorite bhajan, Vaishnavajan, by artists from the Maldives.
Vaishnavan to tene kahiye je, peed par aaye jaane re.
With that, we end this bulletin. See you at the same time tomorrow with the next edition of World News.